people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 12 of Dual Destinies. Last time, we finished the first day of investigations, and now we're moving on to the first trial section for this case, where we met the rival prosecutor for this game, Simon Blackwell, who's essentially Shadow the Hedgehog, if he entered an otaku phase. So anyways, let's go. What? Are you questioning my sense of justice? Do I have to use mob justice on you? Come to me, mob! We shall inflict our justice upon him! Your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. You claim the alderman shrunk back after the mayor put a spear through him. But the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your theory. It would appear that the defense has a counter-argument. Very well. Let's hear what the defense thinks is all about the detective statue theory. Cue me firearm! He was a man! I want to say this one, just for the fun of it. Well, the alderman was a former pro wrestler, so why would he use it as a weapon? He could defend himself with his bare hands. I mean, that's what pro wrestlers do. You've a lot of nerve. But will you raise an objection in the face of swift punishment, as solicitors are wont to do? Well, now I deserve it. And you do. The defense will look before they leap next time. Is that understood? Sorry, Your Honor. Can I try that again? There are no fingerprints. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta go with those answers. In Spirit of Justice, there's a really fun one that basically I laughed so hard when I did it for the first time. I'm looking forward to that when we actually get to it, when we do Spirit of Justice. There are no fingerprints on the supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves. Yes, I believe he is quite gloveless indeed. If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Fulbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you? This can't be happening! Did I arrest the wrong man? Quickly, Fulbright! It's not too late to tender your resignation. Here's the pen and here's some paper. Go mad. I give you my blessings. You did it, Apollo! You knocked Detective Fulbright off his high horse. Well, it's just 1 point in our favor. Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if it wasn't the alderman? Well, if it wasn't the alderman, that means someone else must have clubbed the mayor. You mean there was a third party there in the Fox chamber? Exactly, and this could be the big break we've been looking for. There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's argument. Prosecutor Blackwell, would you care to respond to the defense's assertion? The least you could do is look at me while being dismissive. You know, I have my objections with Prosecutor Gavin, but at least when he demeans me, he at least he keeps my humanity intact. He treats me with some semblance of me being a person. Your mind is as dull as an unhoned blade, Justice Dono. Justice Dono? What the hell is with the weeb speak, Blackwell? And to think that basically Edgeworth, he has all these prosecutors. He has Clavier, he has Francisco when she's in the country. He has Sebastian, but then everyone that he can go with. For this one case, he's like, we're doing the convicted prosecutor. We're doing it. Go in the jail. Get him out. I mean, basically, we're not, why, we gonna put Sebastian on this case? It will take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackwell. Do you know who I work with? I work with, have you ever heard of Sebastian de Best? Or as I like to call him, Sebastian de Worst. Frankly, him alone is why I am more than content with being in jail. I swear. Just you don't know how much of a pest he is. He tries to be nice, but in an over-the-top fashion where he doesn't get any hints. He knows that I like anime. He knows that I like Japanese culture, so you know what he does? He insists that Going the House is an anime. He insists that Seinfeld is an anime. Frankly, he insists that everything is an anime. He thinks that World War II is an anime. I kid you not. A whelp such as you has no hope against my superior swordsmanship.
This is a trial, not a sword fight for us here, Blackwell. Sit your weeb ass down.
There's a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that blood-stained cloth found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's.
So, what are you getting at?
Hone your mind, boy! Why was there blood on that cloth?
What are you calling boy? You're only a couple of years older than me!
Yeah, basically, Simon, he is... Okay, yeah, basically... Let me look up Apollo's age, because I don't have Apollo's age right off the top of my head. Okay, so, I'm sorry, I gotta look this up. Okay, I just gotta look this up, I'm sorry, this is gonna bug me. Basically, I think Apollo is... Okay. Yeah, to be honest, I never really paid too much attention to Apollo's age. Yeah, basically, Apollo is 23 in this game. Okay. Yeah, so basically, just Apollo's only a couple years younger than Simon. Simon's like, already, boy! 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 Boy, I will do this. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm trying to just reset my iPad back to when I was looking up Apollo's age to verify. Because basically, to be honest, I don't really pay too much attention to Apollo's age. Just, when I'm basically doing ages in terms of my head for Ace Attorney games, for Ace Attorney characters, I'm more or less basing it off of just character groups. For example, knowing that Simon, Sebastian... Knowing that basically Simon, Maya, and Francisco are in the same age group, while basically Sebastian's a little younger than Simon. Knowing that basically Edgeworth, Phoenix, Kristoff, basically they're all in the same age group. So basically it's a little weird when you get Apollo, who basically he's in his own bracket of sorts. Solve that riddle and you shall see that the hole you thought what you found is but an illusion.
Now let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used
to wrap the statue, to wipe up the blood?
Maybe the cloth was used to wipe as much of the mayor's blood as possible off the statue. And in that process, the culprit inadvertently erased the alderman's fingerprints as well.
Objection.
But the mayor did not bother to wipe away his own fingerprints on the murder weapon. Why would he wipe down one weapon but not the other? Careful now. Use what little brains you have left before you speak.
Give me a do-over on that one, please. Now let's see. What? Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in the cloth. In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used it to strike back at the mayor.
Ah!
Precisely. Bully for you, boy.
Oh, it was nothing.
Apollo, don't let him manipulating you too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution. You just work for him.
I did. I did.
Right. That statue wrapped in cloth without leave no fingerprints is as plain as day. But this also proves there are no holes in our theory of the alderman striking back.
Oops! Ah!
Now do you see how dull your mind is? Watch a good anime, boy, and you will flourish.
I'll make sure shortening next time.
A particularly frightening inmate once told me that. He always tenderly honed his blades before he went to work, little like the samurai of yore.
How would you want to bet that inmate was Shirhan Dogen? How would you want to bet that just Dogen was just giving that piece of advice to Simon? Frankly, I could easily imagine Simon and Shirhan just being good friends in prison, basically. They both have that threatening aura about them. Yeah, Simon talking with Simon.
Samurai sounds more like a homicidal maniac to me.
Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time.
Wait, so the inmate was a murdering samurai prison chef? It would seem that the victim and his killer were the only ones there after all. I was kind of attached to that hole. Now what?
Apollo, I just thought of something. If they didn't find anyone's fingerprints on the statue, who's to say someone other than the alderman didn't hit the mayor with it?
Why didn't I think of that? Anybody could have not left prints on it.
Then who, pray tell, struck the mayor with the statue? Please illuminate us with your wisdom, young lady.
There's only one answer. The real killer.
Prove the existence of this real killer, then. What evidence have you?
Oh, I'll give you evidence, all right.
Athena, are you sure about this?
To borrow your words, Apollo, I'm fine. Take a look at this. Black feathers and tracks, allegedly from a yokai, were found at the scene. I believe they're from the third party who struck the mayor with that statue.
Is the defense actually suggesting some sort of monster killed the alderman?
Ah, getting hiccups. That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Objection!
No, Athena, you just lost what little credibility we had left. As if we had any to start with. Look at the people in the background, Athena. That one guy, that Wilford Brimsley guy, he's looking pissed off, Athena. He's looking pissed off. He's just glaring at us. And then we got that one woman behind him who's just staring off to the side. Who is she looking at? And then we got the glasses lady who's just really glaring at us. And, wait a minute. Are there two of the glasses lady?
Ah! Sorry, I guess I got carried away.
Mr. Justice, we've no time to deal with objections between members of the defense. Why are you flubbing me, CzarThwomp? Why are you blowing my lines? Sorry, Your Honor. It's just, this kid's still, well, a kid.
Ouch! You're mean! You meanie! I'm reporting this to Mr. Wright.
As if Mr. Wright and Trucy care! Newsflash, Athena, they don't!
Yeah, and knowing Apollo's like, Phoenix would actually chastise Apollo. Meanwhile, basically, Trucy abuses him on a daily basis and just nothing.
So, is this court to believe the feathers and tracks are from a yokai, as you put it? No, Your Honor. I believe they are a fabrication. The real killer wants us to believe some sort of monster murdered the alderman. Interesting. And why do you suppose the killer would do that? Why indeed? Mr. Justice, you seem as new to this as your partner is. Ouch! This I'm not reporting to Mr. Wright.
Hoy, Fulbright, explain to his baldness what these brats are missing. You know, the who and why behind those feathers and tracks. Though, if you're curious, if you ever watched an episode of Scooby-Doo, you may like this.
What? You mean you can explain all that?
Ha ha ha! Our investigative prowess is without equal.
I'm sorry to think I chose the wrong profession. Very well, let's hear about these so-called yokai feathers and tracks.
Witness testimony. Feathers and tracks.
This entire case centers on one man's attempts to crush opposition to the municipal merger.
Mayor Tenma panicked when the amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters. So he stoked the villagers' fears by fabricating a monster. The strange feathers and tracks he planted made it look like a yokai was the killer.
Those feathers and tracks stoked the villagers' fears?
Absolutely! He knew exactly how to prey on their superstitious minds.
Those feathers only gave weight to the idea that the alderman was slayed by a demon. The accursed demon Tenma Taro, that is.
Tenma who?
Tenma Taro, the legendary demon locked away in the village's forbidden chamber. From a young age, the villagers are taught to fear the great black feather demon, and thus they blinded to other, more plausible explanations.
Hold on for a second. Before we start letting our imaginations run wild, isn't there someone else that could be considered a suspect? Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at QB Manor, and as part of this event, there was someone dressed in the likeness of Tenma Taro. Obviously, this person is a much more likely suspect than a legendary demon.
Objection!
Dullard, you are playing right into the killer's mind games.
What?
Listen here, the feathers and the tracks were merely red herrings. The villagers believed the murder to be the work of the real Tenma Taro. However, the police believe that the person in the Tenma Taro suit is the killer. Oh! The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect blame away from himself. However, he was knocked unconscious by the alderman. And thus our mentally deficient mayor was caught red-handed at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
You also believe Mayor Tenma would do something so stupid?
Objection!
The evidence speaks for itself. Fulbright!
Right. It was the mayor's last-ditch effort to stop the opposition before things got crazy. The Amazing Nine-Tails was fueling both the yokai craze and the anti-merger movement. Plus, he's one of the better-known masked wrestlers and the hometown favorites. That's why the mayor panicked and set out on the path of injustice!
But do the people of Nine-Tailsville really believe a yokai is behind the crime?
Yokai sightings are an everyday event there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I must say, a crime that preys upon innocent, impressionable minds.
Just so, a particularly silver-tongued inmate once had the following words for me. The innocent of heart are the easiest prey.
How much do I bet that was the other Simon? Yeah, other Simon basically giving advice in that regard.
You don't say. Was this inmate a con artist?
No. He was framed for the murder of his beloved.
Okay, no, it wasn't Simon.
I actually felt sorry for the poor chap.
Wait, so he wasn't the predator, but rather the prey? Yes, well, now then, the defense may proceed with their cross-examination.
Yeah, though it would be cool though it would be a cool nod if basically Simon did actually make some slight references to past culprits. I mean, basically, he's the only prosecutor in the series who has that unique perspective where basically he went to the same prison, possibly went to the same prison as a lot of the culprits who were basically convicted in previous entries in the series. Feathers and Drax.
Hold it!
Detective Fulbright, is the anti-merger movement really that strong?
Oh, absolutely! They parade around in yokai costumes shouting, "Down with Mayor Tenma!" And just the other day, they stormed Tenma City Hall, claiming it was a den of vipers! And yesterday, they had a parade where they had a burning effigy of Mayor Tenma! In fact, after we convict Mayor Tenma, we are going to be... The people of Nine-Tailsville, they want us to lock him in a wooden cage, and then we light it on fire, and then we parade through the town!
But when the accused showed his face, the angry mob scattered like leaves upon an autumn wind. For you see, lowly yokai are no match for Tenma Taro, the dark lord of their kind.
Wait, are the villagers scared of Mayor Tenma or Tenma Taro? I'm confused.
I think he means Mayor Tenma. It's easy to get the wrong impression about the guy. Detective Fulbright, why do you suppose the defendant would commit such an act?
Okay...
Hold it!
The Amazing Nine-Tails. No one knows his true identity, right?
That's right. And he was a lone wolf, or in other words, he didn't belong to a wrestling federation. He appeared like a shooting star, defeating one Tenma Town wrestler after another. And before anyone knew it, he was champion. Like the samurai... sorry.
What the hell, CzarThwomp? Are you crazed? You're mistaking me for Fulbright. Shame on you. Like the samurai of yore, surrounded by thick with enemies, he cut them down one by one. It was a complete and utter loss of face for Tenma Town Pro Wrestling.
He was amazing! If ever there were a real superhero, it would be him! I dream of becoming a true champion of justice like him someday! I bet Detective Fulbright would be a great pro wrestler. He could even team up with Prosecutor Blackwell. Yeah, that would be a real duo for the ages. Basically, knowing basically Fulbright, he'd be whipping out a bunch of random objects and just yelling, "Object blank of justice, barracks of justice, stun gun of justice, fists of justice, brass knuckles of justice, molding chair of justice." Meanwhile, Simon, he's just punching below the belt. He's just using all these prison fighting techniques.
A police detective and a prisoner in chains.
Yeah, just, Simon,
Taste the chain! Taste the chain! Taste the chain!
You know, I think people would actually pay to see that. I know I would.
Yeah, basically, people would just pay to see Simon, just to see Simon yelling, "Taste the chain!" Just yelling that alone. Okay, now I'm thinking of that Squidbillies thing with that one Squidbillies short with basically where Dan Helen was being interviewed, and basically Dan Helen, "Yes, I told him to taste the chain."
So you do understand the greatness that is the Amazing Ninetales.
Hold it!
Did the murder in yokai evidence really stoke the villagers' fears?
Absolutely! It had an immediate effect!
The presumed return of the dreaded Tenma Taro had them shaking in their boots! Oh my, is it really that bad?
That superstitious lot. It's as if Jack the Ripper had been set loose in the village. The mere thought of that demon lurking about is enough to spark a mass exodus.
I see, that's a very persuasive argument. The mere thought of his honor buying into Simon the Psycho Slasher's words! Makes me want to spark my own exodus out of the courtroom right now!
So you see, there can be only one reason why anyone would plant those feathers in tracks.
Hold it!
But it doesn't add up! If what you say is true, why top it off with murder?
What do you mean?
You claim that our client planted the yokai evidence to stoke the villagers' fears. If so, then why stop there? Why murder Alderman QB? Excellent points. It is, isn't it? So your honor agrees that there was no reason for a murder, correct?
Objection!
Perhaps the killing was on the spur of the moment.
You're saying it wasn't premeditated?
From the outset, I had no intention of paying heed to any of your babble. However, the fact is, the man made a startling discovery.
A startling discovery? Why don't I like the sound of that?
Alderman QB's secret identity.
Apollo! I think Monsieur Blackwell's figured out the Alderman's secret identity. But even if he has, why would it be a motive for the man to commit murder?
This is not good!
This batch of fur was discovered at the crime scene. It's from the mask worn by the amazing Ninetales. Therefore, it can be concluded that the mask was at the crime scene.
Oh my, but why would it have been there?
The victim was a former pro wrestler and a member of the anti-merger movement. Need I say more?
Well, could it really be?
Your boldness has had an epiphany, I see. Our victim, Rex QB, was the amazing Ninetales. And the man's discovery of this fact was his motive for murder.
No! Order! Order! What a shocking development! A motive clearer than crystal clear!
What do we do now, Apollo?
I didn't think they tied the ultimate secret identity to the mayor's motive for murder!
At last we've reached my real point. Why did the Ultimate have to forge a secret identity? Does it not pique your interest, your boldness?
On that note, I think now would be a good time to end things off. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want with. Now, see you next time. Bye.